Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is another day of soap opera love in the afternoon, where we talk about your favorite soaps in both the United States and the United Kingdom, the UK. I am Les Kurkendaal-Barrett. Hello, Jordan Hudson.
Hello, Les. How are you?
I'm well. I am well. And one of the reasons why I am well is because our British soaps have gone back to 6 days a week or 6 episodes a week.
Yay!
Because as you know, because of the pandemic, they, both our American and our British soaps had to shut down for a long time, for months and months and months. And so,
yes.
So what the British did, which was very smart, is they had episodes in the can, but instead of, actually 2 of the 4, Coronation Street and Emmerdale, had enough in the can that they could just, instead of completely taking their soaps off the air, they just cut down the days of the soaps. So Coronation Street was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Emmerdale was, I believe, Monday. It was either Tuesdays and Thursdays. It was 2 days a week. And so, and then Emmerdale and Hollyoaks both, I guess, ran out of episodes. And so they just basically shut down for the majority of the summer.
Right. It was the EastEnders. You said Emmerdale. EastEnders.
Oh, sorry,
EastEnders and Hollyoaks shut down. And EastEnders shut down for a lot longer time than Hollyoaks.
Right.
Yeah, because EastEnders, they shut down way before Hollyoaks did, I think. Yeah, I'm almost sure, yeah. So they're all back. They're all back in all their glory.
Yes, yes. And
yes.
Did you hear that one of the people that we like is nominated? So in the UK, they have what is called the Inside Soap Awards, and they have announced their nominees. So of course, so in this article I'm reading, 2 of the main nominees that stick out to people are Shelley King, who plays Yasmin. She's nominated for Best Actress, which she deserves, hands down. And then also Emma Atkins, she plays Charity Dingle. She's nominated for Best Actress. And I don't know if you were watching Emmerdale yet, Jordan, but earlier in the year, she had a storyline where the character's bisexual, and so she's in a relationship with a woman, and her fiance, she has cancer and is battling cancer. So that's where Emma Atkins got her nomination. Other nominees are Jane Danson, who plays Leanne from Coronation Street, Sally Carmen, who plays Abby on Coronation Street, Lisa Riley, who plays Mandy Dingle on Emmerdale, and Natalie J. Robb, who plays Moira on Emmerdale. Okay, this is like an insane category. Like, how do you pick?
Wait. Were those all? I thought there were like 12 nominees. No, there were just those were the nominees.
So the article I'm reading says that they're going to announce more. Have they announced the rest?
No, but because it seemed like there were 12 not. But I got to tell you, when I saw that, I was just like, what a huge difference from like the American soaps and the British soap operas. Because when you look at that category, like everybody who's nominated like deserves to be nominated. Like everybody who's nominated in that category, these women are all on the same level, on the same playing field. They're all fabulous and fierce, and there's no like, how the fuck did this person get nominated?
And I found the rest of the nominees. I found more nominees. So for
that was politically incorrect.
That's funny. So for EastEnders, the 3 nominees from that soap, and I'm still getting familiar with the EastEnders characters, so maybe you can help me out. Jessica Plummer with Chantal as Chantal, who I know who that is after this week, which we'll get into. Damn, that was harsh. Anyway, so Jessica Plummer as Chantal, Kelly Bright, who plays Linda Carter, and Shona McCarthy, who plays Whitney Dean. And like I said, I'm still getting familiar with the characters. So other than Chantal, I don't know who the other ones are. And then from Hollyoaks, Jennifer Metcalf, who plays Mercedes McQueen, Jessica Fox, who plays Nancy Osborne, and Kelly Bryan, who plays Martine Devereaux. So they've only announced the females so far, but I'm reading here that full details of the long list will be revealed Tuesday, September 15th, which is tomorrow. And so they're going to reveal all the rest of the nominees.
Well, it's like I'm biased at this point because I got to tell you, since I started watching all these British soap operas, like if she would have come down, and yes, God's a woman, if she would have come down and she said, Jordan, you can only watch the American soap operas or the British soap operas, but not, both of them, it wouldn't even be like a question or a hesitation. I'd be like, I'm fine with the 4 British soap operas, and I could gladly give up the American soap operas again and like never watch them again. Like it's gotten to the point now where like the American soap operas are just really, child. I kept hoping and praying that they'll get better, and and watching the British soap operas, you really see how lacking the American soap operas are in like everything. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh yeah.
And it's just, what it comes down to for me too, and it's because like as you said, the British soap operas are all back in full force. I admit that I have not seen. We're gonna have to hold off on Hollyoaks, because as much as I want to watch Hollyoaks, I cannot on Daily Motion anymore.
Wait.
So
have you not seen Hollyoaks? Have you not seen Hollyoaks at all?
No. Let me tell you. Wait, listen. Every day I keep checking Hulu to see. I don't know what the gap is between when new episodes come up on Hulu, but I'm checking every day. Like
it's a couple of weeks.
Don't tell me that. Really?
Yeah.
It can't be a couple of weeks. That's that bad.
It's at least a week.
Like I said, every day I'm checking. As soon as they come up on Hulu, I will be watching. I'm still watching from last year. Let me tell you that I'm still watching Coronation Street from last year and current Coronation Street. And I'm so glad that I'm doing that, because I'm able to, so much of what I'm enjoying on Coronation Street right now, like for instance, Yasmin's storyline, I'm getting the bulk of it and seeing like how it all started. So it's like riveting for me watching simultaneously current Coronation Street and Coronation Street from a year ago. I'm loving it. So, the thing with the British soap operas is that it's just, they're more engrossing. They're more entertaining. They do what the American soap operas used to do, which is give you a little bit of everything. I laugh. I cry. There's so many different characters, so many different storylines. Nothing's ever boring. I'm like, there's not one character or one thing on any of these 4 shows that like I want to hit the fast forward button on. It's just like, and I will admit now, after watching all 4 of them, I will admit that you are right. Hollyoaks, as much as I love Hollyoaks, a lot of their cast members are not necessarily the greatest actors. And when I say that, I just mean like, because we always have that there's a thing where people think that British actors are like flawless and like anybody who's from Britain can act. And you watch something like this and you're like, well, no, not every British person can act. Just like,
and then think about it. Because we're comparing all four. You got, comparing, Hollyoaks to like Coronation Street.
You could see exactly, even comparing the four of them together, you could see that Hollyoaks definitely has the cast that's more like an American soap opera in the sense that a lot of them are obviously, very attractive. But the one thing that I will give even the weakest link on Hollyoaks is at least they're not dead behind the eyes. Like, they may overact. They may not be the best actors in the sense of subtlety. They may be overacting because there's one girl I live for her, but she's so over the top.
And let me tell you this about Hollyoaks. Let me tell you this. Okay, so after this week, I get why you like it, because remember, and I'm not. This is not a spoiler. Okay, I'll leave it at this. Remember when you were telling me about Hollyoaks and you were like, Hollyoaks will kill somebody on a dime? Yeah. Well,
somebody dies. Oh my God, I'm going to have to watch Daily Motion. I don't like, oh wait. Well, look, this is what I'm talking about. Like even the weakest link on Hollyoaks is stronger than most of these American actors, because I got to tell you, the one thing, especially watching all four of the American soap operas right now, girl, these dead behind the eye actors. I'd rather have somebody giving me over the top chewing the scenery than to watch these actors that like literally are soulless. Like, Judy Blight Wilson, who, for those of you who don't know, she was the casting director for the last like decade on All My Children. She supposedly took over from the great Joan D'Ancheco, who discovered everybody, like Susan Lucci, Kim Delaney. We'll get to Kim Delaney later. Michael Knight, all of the people that we love. That's who Joan D'Ancheco discovered. And then Judy Blight Wilson came on, and she was notorious because I think it was Vanity Fair that she did an interview, and she said, I cast on looks. Acting can be taught. And I've said this before, girl, you are absolutely wrong. Acting cannot be taught. You either have it or you don't. You either have talent or you don't. What could happen is that you can grow as an actor. Right. But if you don't have something, I'm not talking about being Helen Mirren. I'm just saying something. Then no, you're not. It can't be taught. You can't. Some people have a natural ability. That's what you see. There's certain actors. You're like, well, why are they so popular? What are they? It's because the audience can relate to them. It doesn't mean that they're the greatest actor, but their presence, something about them. And when I say the greatest actor, I mean they don't have necessarily the greatest range. Right. Because that's the other thing too. There's some actors that can play anything, and then there's some actors that are just. They're very convincing, but they just kind of play themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as the writers know to keep you in your lane. In other words, as a writer, you have to write for your actors. You have to, there's a reason I'm going to be talking about this, because when we get to General Hospital, this will prove my point, is that you need to know how to write for your actors. Don't try to give them some kind of heavy stuff if you know that's not in their what is it, wheelbarrow? Is that
wheelhouse.
Saying? Wheelhouse. Their wheelhouse, right? You got to keep them in their lanes. And I want to save the British soaps for last because they were so fierce. Let us start with the boring stuff first. And I'm because we could get through this real quick. 2 weeks of Bold and the Beautiful, because basically it was the same thing every
day for 2 weeks.
Bad writing. It was the same thing on Monday. I'm looking at my notes. It's the same. Who cares? Shauna and Quinn are the only thing. Quinn are the only thing. Quinn Redbrook. Shauna gives 100%, even though she's getting 0 from Thorsten K as Ridge. And I got to tell you, I have not been so upset with a recast since Chris Kostachek became Roman Brady. I cannot deal with Zach Slater being Rich Forrester. It really annoys me. And then in that same Tuesday episode, Catherine Kelly, I don't know what was going on with Catherine Kelly Lang, but she was horrendous in last Tuesday's episode.
Was that with Bill?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was with Bill, but it was when Quinn was reading her, and she just seemed to be so like like just saying the lines and just like, and I get it, girl. The writing in that show is horrendous at times. Like the dialogue is so, like, you're a 55-year-old woman and you sound like you're an elementary school teacher talking to your second grade class. Like, I get it, but that's your job, girl. You're an actress.
Right.
Sell it. She was not selling it Tuesday. Then Wednesday, we finally got a change, and they brought Liam and Hope. And I gotta say, I liked watching Liam and Hope. I did. I like the two actors. They're good. But again, the dialogue was repetitive. I mean, how many times in that one episode, every scene, they kept saying the same thing about Steffi and taking care of the baby. And, oh, I hope the baby wants to stay here. She don't want to go home to Steffi and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, like, you said that for the last 20 minutes. Why are you keep repeat, like the dialogue just repeats. I will get Steffi, because you know I'm hard on her, but she had one decent moment when she found out that Kelly wanted to stay and that Kelly wasn't coming home and she hung up the phone. Her reaction was good. I was like, finally, finally we get you acting. I was digging Hope's like 1970s Lori Partridge look. I don't know what's going on with her hair and everything, but I thought she looked fierce.
Probably.
It was like this, like, I guess that's her natural color. It's like a beautiful brown. I'm like, girl, leave your natural color. You look fierce. But they also didn't do anything. They just let it like hang. And she had this she looked like very Susan Day from the Partridge Family, and I was living for it. I was like, girl, that look works on you. Just natural beauty. She didn't need all the makeup. And I'm like, she looks gorgeous just like that. Stay like that. Don't let them put tons of makeup on you or anything. You look flawless in that episode. And again, Lehman's Hope, Thursday's episode, the same thing. And Steffi is an addict. And there's the weird, I don't know, weird stuff going on.
Which, this is the thing. And I'll just go ahead and out myself. Years ago, I had my issues with things, and I am clean and sober for, God, over a decade now. And so I belong to, I go to a certain place where people go to talk every day, which, you're not allowed to say on air, but a certain place with a couple of letters that are the same. But
okay.
My point is, I do not believe this addiction storyline because
it's horrible.
And I'll use an example. I'm getting like Jamie Giddens from Daytime Confidential when he used to do his Another World references all the time. So, on All My Children, when Erica Kane became addicted to pills, it was a gradual thing. And it happened over months. So 2 weeks, she's an addict in 2 weeks. I don't buy that. I do buy the her being in an accident, her hurting her back, her becoming addicted to those pills because they are addictive, but not after 2 weeks, the way that she's jonesing. First of all, they give you enough prescription to last you for at least a month anyway. They just do. I just recently had a surgery. I know this for a fact. But it's not the fact that she's becoming an addict and she's playing it, she's playing it all right. It's just the fact that you don't become an addict in a week. I'm sorry. That's just taking me out of it.
Well, I mean, it definitely doesn't, but again, we go back to, writing, certain storylines, cannot be sped through. You cannot do certain storylines that are fast paced. You need to establish stuff. You need the audience to care. And the thing is, you're absolutely right. I mean, even from day one, this storyline was so predictable. It was so obvious where they were heading with this. And even from her hospital bed, I mean, again, as an actress, I guess she's making a character choice. But, girl, it was the wrong choice. You did not seem like you were in pain. You didn't seem like you were anything. I mean, there was this weird male bonding scene in Bill's office between Bill, his son, and that black guy who, I don't know, what is he, like Bill's servant? Like, who is he?
Oh,
I know he's like the father... He's the father of Donna's son, right?
Oh,
That's
no, he's like
on the
Bill's
show.
right-hand man. He's pretty powerful.
I know, but they need to give him his own. I don't like him being like some kind of lackey to Bill. I didn't feel that whole male bonding
he's had
thing.
storylines before.
Like,
he's had storylines.
yeah, well, he needs a storyline now because I'm like, I want black excellence from him. I don't want him being like, I don't want him being Alfred Pennyworth over there to like Bill's Bruce Wayne. But then there was like Steffi and Dr. Flynn. Oh my God, they are so painful to watch. I cringe every time they're on. It's such. And then Hope went to the office to talk to Liam and Bill because Steffi went off on Hope. So Hope now, you know, again, one of the only people that has a brain. And then when she was talking about what was going on, Bill hears that the doctor's visiting, and he assumes that the doctor's like fucking Steffi. And I'm like, that's a big leap. Like, this show is so bizarre and so predictable, and it's just like what makes you like? What would make like? I don't know. Like that, I just felt like, well, where did that come from? Why would you even assume, even though we know that's what's going on, because the doctor is obvious. I mean, it just every time I watch those scenes with the doctor and Stephanie, they're very cringy. The dialogue, the way the two of them are playing it, it's just But finally, the doctor gets a brain, and he realizes that, you know, what's her name is becoming like Nellie O'Hara from Valley of the Dolls, and tells her, no,
in a week
you're not getting. And I was like, thank God, you know, because if he would have given her another prescription, I would have been done with this show. I'm like, come on, I know he's a doctor in LA, but he has to have a brain, so he has to be able to pick up that she's like, you know, and he did kind of. Doesn't mean he's not going to give in to her, but, you know. Right. But again, then we go back to the repetition with Shauna and Quinn. I mean, we could play it. After Friday's episode, I was like, you know what? We need a new drinking game. Every time Shauna is talking to Quinn and she mentions, you had me text, what's his name, Carter, and like file those divorce papers for Ridge, take a shot. We'll be drunk by the end. Right? Seriously. We'll be drunk. We'll be drunk or like in an alcoholic poisoning thing by the end of the episode, because it's like they keep repeating. And I love watching the two of them, but girls, come on, get them some other dialogue. They keep repeating the same thing for a week, for at least a week. And what was that ugly garment? I loved when Quinn was eavesdropping on Brooke and Ridge, and then there's this like ugly garment that's like hanging on the wall. I know they're fashion designers and stuff, but who hangs a piece of a dress on a wall? Like, it just seemed really weird. I was like, that is really bizarre. I was living for Quinn, watching from the balcony, though. I was like, that's so she's the only bright spot in this show right now. She really, Denise, that's the only storyline that's like her and Denise and their scenes. Those are the only scenes that are keeping me entertained. Let me tell you something. Rena Sofa is not getting paid enough. She isn't. There's no amount of money. They need her. They cannot lose her. She's the only one with life. She's carrying that show on her back. Oh my God. I love her and Shauna, though. I love their relationship, though. Yeah. I love their friendship. I love that they have each other's back. I like when Bill was like, call it. And she was like, don't call my friend that. I was like, see, I miss that kind of friendship. That kind of like, I got your back, girl. You're my girl, you know? Right. I live for that. That's the only thing that I'm living for. But I will say this, the rest of the cast needs a life too, because everybody else is always talking about freaking Ridge and Brooke. Right. Like Donna's talking about it with whoever she's in the scene. Right. They even had Katie talking about it with Eric. And I'm like, y'all need to get a life. So there's more to life. And Eric together? Is that I was thinking that too. Is that where they're leaning? I was thinking that too. I was wondering. I was like, he's banged almost everybody. He did the mother and the two sisters. He might as well do Katie. That'll be like, it'll be like the male Reva Shane on this show. Because I just got that vibe, that scene. I was like, are they putting them together? Are they like chem testing them? Who knows? I really feel like he's writing this show as he goes along. He doesn't care. He's just like, as long as CBS keeps giving me those paychecks, I'm just gonna write whatever. It's right now. I gotta tell you, it's a tie between which one is worse, that or Young and the Restless. I keep going back and forth, and I keep saying but I will say this: I really don't appreciate Sally Spectra's like non-exit. I guess Sally's gone, and that's it. And they mentioned her finally, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm glad I don't have to see her anymore," or something like that. I forgot how Wyatt phrased it. Now, that's the other thing. I love that Wyatt loves Shauna's cookies. What was that about? That was very. Right. That was such a bizarre scene. She brought Wyatt cookies, like, you know how much I love your cookies. I was like, is this a kind of euphemism thing that I'm missing out on? Is this a sex thing? You like my cookies, Wyatt?
Right. Right. Well, do you want to talk about
such a bizarre
The
show.
Young and the Restless and get it?
Yeah,
like, pull the Band-Aid off.
We might as well. It's another one.
Pull the Band-Aid off and just get the. Okay, I got to tell you, Jordan. So,
yes.
Like I've said on this podcast before, when it comes to The Young and the Restless, I've always kind of ducked in and out for a couple of days here, a couple of days there, or if I hear that like a storyline is really good, I'll go check it out for, kind of pop in and out. I've never been a long-term YNR fan, but I tell you what, if I did not have to watch that show for this podcast, I would not watch it. It is so painfully boring. Other than, I gotta say though, I do like Eric Braeden, and I do like Eric Braeden's work. But other than Eric Braeden, seriously, and also what's her name? Melody Thomas. Like their scenes I liked. Other than that, if I did not have to watch the show, I would not. I'm watching it right now because I have to.
All right. Well, I agree with you. I mean, at least Bold and the Beautiful is entertaining, and it's so horrible that it makes you laugh. You know what I mean? Like, I guess in that sense. But with YNR, it's more like it's like a Greek tragedy, and not in a good way. I mean, I'll put it in a nutshell, because it basically, if they would have called the show Black Excellent and the Abbotts, then I'd be on it every day watching it. Because that's about the only thing that works for me in this show is the Black characters and the Abbotts. And I agree with you that I love Eric Braeden and I love Melody Thomas Scott, but this show is so about the Newmans that I'm over it. I'm over them. I'm feeling like I'm watching the same storyline for the last 20 years. It's like at some point, you guys got to move on. And I will say this: the first week, Monday, I didn't care about anything that was going on with the Newmans. All I cared about was Billy and Jack's scenes. Billy and Jack's scenes were everything. Peter Bergman and Jason. And first of all, I got to tell you, I think they should leave Jason Thompson in the role of Billy Abbott. And I did see episodes with Billy Miller, and I do think Billy Miller was great. Obviously, everybody else did because he won Emmys. But I feel like Jason Thompson now owns that role. He is Billy Abbott. And something that dawned on me too, and it wasn't the scene with Peter Bergman, it was a scene with Theo where he did something, and oh my God, he looked like he could be Peter Bergman's brother. And I was like, he just seemed like a young Jack Abbott when he said something to Theo, and I was like, yes, they need to just keep this. Their big mistake was bringing Michelle Stafford back and not keeping Gina as Phyllis. But that Monday, I was like, who cares? Just Billy and Jack. And then on Tuesday, again, boring with the Newmans. I'm not going to tell you anything about the Newman storyline because it is a repetitive storyline that is just going in circles.
He killed him already.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and I'm going to tell you why it's ridiculous in a second. Mariah is wasted. I love having LGBT characters, but if you're not going to give them a life, if you're not going to make them as equals to as the straight characters, because that's the one thing that I will give the British soap operas. They treat their LGBT characters way better than the American soap operas do. And the actress who plays Mariah, the character Mariah is wasted. She's wasted. So that make her straight and have her with a guy because you're wasting her. She's doing. I would have rather Lola turned to Mariah and they wound up having an affair after Lola got her heart broken. That would have been more interesting than what's going on now. Again, the Newmans, I don't know. I can't read my notes. Nathan and Amanda, I like. Right. I do like Nathan and Amanda. I like all. I'm loving the Black storyline. So I wish that it would be more exciting and move forward. But you know what? Right. I'm just enjoying them talking and bonding. I'm loving Elena with Devon.
Amanda?
Yeah, I do like her. I will say that now I see the Billy and Amanda triangle. Like I see before I was all about Billy and Lily, but when they had a scene on Thursday's episode, Billy and Amanda, and I said, oh, I see now the heat. I see it. I'm like, that's a hot triangle. Billy, Lily, and Amanda. Now that's what we call a triangle.
Chocolate City.
it is. That I'm all about that.
Chocolate City.
Jill Farren-Felp. That guy who plays Noah now, that's another Jill Farren-Felp casting. He needs to go. He looks older than the guy who plays his father. He looks older than Nicholas. He's horrible. I didn't like him on that Nickelodeon soap that Jill Farren Phelps discovered him for. And then he's the baby's daddy. Sarah's in real life. What's her name? Who plays Sarah on Days?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's they're not together anymore, but that's our baby's daddy. Yeah. And then Friday was Black Excellence in the Abbotts. I'm telling you, when the Abbotts and the Black Excellence are on, I'm all for it. I'm just like, I'm loving Y&R. It's like, just keep it about them. But yeah, the Newman, I do like this idea of the women now controlling Newman. I will say that, because that has nothing to do with Adam, because Adam's storylines was sucking a hole right now out of the Newmans. But Victoria taking over, really finally taking over Newman Enterprises and telling her father, you could sit on my middle finger and rotate on it, and her getting Nikki aboard, I want them to be successful. I want them to turn this company into something bigger than Victor ever could. That way it's all about women empowerment. So that aspect of the Newman storyline I'm enjoying. And then last week, I don't know, there were some bizarre scenes with Lola and Theo. I'm not really, I don't think the writers know what they're doing with Lola and Theo and Lola, period. I really hate that, because I love the actress who plays Lola. One of the reasons that I started watching Y&R last year was when when they announced that Eva LaRue was coming on to play the matriarch of this family. And I started watching immediately, just like kind of get in the groove. And I know a lot of people hated Lola and Billy, but I liked them. You know why? Because I hadn't seen like a real love storyline on the soap opera in such a long time, that it was cute to see these two people in love. They couldn't stop kissing. They were getting ready for their marriage. They've been through so much to get together. And that's why I don't understand how now they are where they are now. I admit that I stopped watching Y&R shortly before the pandemic, but how the hell did all this stuff come about? The last time I saw Victoria and Billy, she was his guiding light through him trying to deal with this almost split personality thing that was going on with him. And
they were doing a Vicky Nikki with him?
They were kind of, but not as cheesy as Vicky and Nikki. They handled it very good. It was, the correct way to handle it. It wasn't over the top. And that's what got him the Emmy. I think that's what got him the Emmy, because they had like a special episode that was all about him dealing with, the fact that, he was having this like fractured thing going on because of everything he's been through. And, and Victoria is what got him through it. And like, they swore, like, you're my rock, you're my love. So now they're not together. I don't understand. To me, this is bad writing. I'm sorry. You can't have, you can't tell the audience that these are the end games and these two people are each other's rocks, and then decide all of a sudden, no, Summer's the girl that I really love. What? How can anyone love Summer? She's so fucking annoying. Oh my God, that voice alone. If anything, that voice alone would turn me gay.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The Lola and Theo scenes are just, they don't make any sense. Very awkward Sharon and Ray stuff. Ray snooping to find Sharon's
I do like
results.
Ray.
That's kind of grimy.
I
like Ray, but I don't like him with Sharon.
Not for the acting. I like him for the look.
When he was on, I'm not gonna lie, when he was on Guiding Light, I thought he was so hot. He's still hot, but he doesn't do it for me anymore. He did it for me when he was on Guiding Light, though. When he was on Guiding Light, I was all about him. I was like,
let's just say this about Young and the Restless. I learned something. Let's just say this about Young and the Restless. This is what I learned from Young and the Restless. I cannot watch Young and the Restless lying on the couch. Because I will get I got a couple of good naps.
Well, I know last Thursday's episode, you must have slept through the whole thing, so did I. That was all Newmans. There was no Black Excellence. There was no,
I'm not even kidding.
There was no Abbotts. And that Thursday episode, I was like, oh my God, I'd rather be like tortured. I'd rather put Tabasco sauce in my eye, this episode. But Wednesday's episode with Lily and Billy, the irony is not lost on me, people. They have 4 scenes the entire episode. They were the best thing in the episode. practice what you preach, Y&R. If you're going to have this episode where Lily is talking to Billy about the fact that they need to be like inclusive in their hiring, and they need to have, you know, make sure that when they're hiring writers and stuff, that they're, you know, having people with different voices and stuff. In other words, talking about people of color. Practice what you preach. I can't believe that they did this. I was watching this and I was loving it, but then I'm like, but y'all aren't doing it.
Right.
You are not hiring Black and Latin writers. You're not hiring, you know, you got rid of almost the entire Latin family instead of building upon them. And I'm like, why not have a Black family, a Latin family, a South Asian family, an Asian family? Why? You know what I mean? Like, it just was so bizarre to hear this character talking about this, about how this has change needs to happen and Chancellor thing. And meanwhile, the soap that she's on is just white as usual.
Right. Well,
sorry to say it, people.
First of all, last Thursday watching Y&R, I got a major headache, and I'm not even kidding. And I think because I was just like seriously at one point I was like, I can't take it. Like it was a good thing that it ended when it did, because I literally was just like, I can't take it anymore. It was that boring.
It was that, no, that was that Thursday. I'll tell you, that was all the new men. And then Friday, finally, the torture ended for me with Friday's episode. I got to see my Billy, which I was grateful for. And he was talking to the girl, Alyssa, the Spanish girl. And Alyssa needs to stay in town. You know why? Because her hair is fierce. And they need to leave her hair. Leave her hair like that. Don't straighten it. That's natural curls. She looks fierce. She's fierce. She held her own with Jason Thompson. She was the most interesting thing on that episode with Jason Thompson. You need to keep her and, like, get rid of what's her name, Abby, because this girl has more life than Abby does, and Summer put together. And Adam thinks he's Shang-Chi, master of kung fu from Marvel Comics, because he tells what's her name, Melissa Claire Egan. What's her character's name? I forgot.
Chelsea. I almost called her Annie.
Chelsea. Yeah, I know. Chelsea. He tells Chelsea, I can't ask you to walk down this path with me. I'm like, that is right out of Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu, when he was seeking atonement for killing his father, Fu Manchu. I was just like, who writes this shit? I'm like, who talks like that?
When Adam's on, I'm literally like, you killed somebody. I don't care. Stop whining. I don't care. Just go to prison, please.
I can't ask you to walk down this path with me. I mean, corny. You know why this Adam storyline is so ridiculous, people, and I'm going to put it in a nutshell, is with all the fucking shit that Adam has done, being played by 4 different actors, I'm going back to the first adult Adam, with all the fucking shit that this man has pulled, you know, making, you know, knowing that this baby died, and, you know, all this stuff that he's done. He's done some sleeping with a guy that was gay just to keep him quiet. This is what turns him. This is what breaks him down. The fact that he finally remembers that he killed somebody when he was 11. He's done just as bad shit now. So that's why this whole storyline is so unbelievable. And it has nothing to do with Mark Grossman as an actor. I actually really like him as Adam. This is the writer's fault for, like, basically masturbating for this character and this storyline. This is just like, you are all about making this the Adam Newman show, and I'm sorry, you can't do that. You just don't revolve an entire show around one character. I'm sorry, and it for me, it's turning me off to the character. It's turning me off to the entire family at this point. And I'm as exhausted as Nicholas and Victoria are. It's that simple. I'm as exhausted as Nicholas and Victoria. They're like, oh, we're so tired of you defending Adam, Dad. I'm like, yes, I'm right there with you, kids. Seriously. So it's that simple, people. It's that simple. That's why that storyline is not working. Now on to General Hospital.
Okay, you know what? Okay, no, it's not going to be bad. It's improving. I'm not like, you know, gaga over it, but it's getting, I put it this way, there were some bright spots that I was entertained by.
I'll agree with you. This has always been my problem with General Hospital. You know why General Hospital is so frustrating? Is because it always has the potential to be brilliant. It's always like right there at the tip of your tongue. It's like you could be the best soap on the air, but without the right person helming it, they take 5 steps forward and then 10 steps back. Always. And it's so frustrating because you have an extremely, for the most part, talented cast. At one point, you had the talented cast on daytime TV. Now you have a couple of bad apples. But even with those bad apples, you're still an incredible ensemble. The writers just keep fucking shit up.
Because I like now, because one of the things that I like, which I hope they don't drop the ball on this, I'm not holding out hope. I like the whole thing with now Britt being the chief of staff and her like just fucking with people. That was like, if they do it right, it's going to be good.
No, I agree with you that Britt's. Well, let's start from last week. Last week, okay. Carly and Jax, we were the aftermath of the whole Nell falling off the cliff. And look, just because Valerie says they're cousins doesn't mean that I believe it. I didn't believe Valerie as an actress. She was like, Carly, we're cousins. I got your back. This means I was like, oh, she was so she was. See, this is what I'm talking about. Bad casting choices. It's like who replaces Brittany? What's her name with this person? I mean, and at this point, who cares about Alexis and her nonsense, Willow and Michael? Let Nina move on already from all of this. With I don't know, when they put Nina back with Valentine, I'm like, don't do that. Let her move on. Maurice Bernard is going. This has been his best work. And I agree with him. I agree that he is. It's good, but I agree with you that it's very hard to watch the Sonny and scenes with Mike. But again, my problem with all of this is that I can't enjoy it, Maurice, and I'm telling you why. Because instead of focusing on the story about you and your father and letting this story play out, they're overlapping, and they're not the only ones that are doing that. Days Are Alive did it these past 2 weeks too, where you have these really powerful storylines, and instead of focusing on those storylines, you're having like the character be involved in like all these other storylines. So instead of Mike being Sonny's main focus, he also has to deal with Renault. He also has to deal with Nell. He also has to, you know what I mean? Like it's just like, so you don't really like get the full maximum effect because you're pulling us out of that. You're pulling Sonny out of it to deal with this freaking bullshit thing, And Danny, that kid who plays Danny, is like one of the best younger actors. I mean, I don't know how he's the result of Jason and Sam, because they're so like dead behind the eyes and he's so alive. He actually made me focus on the scene that he was with the two of them. And then, you got, finally they show some skin. We got to see Dr. Neil with his shirt off. Well, and then Alexis's WAP kills him the next day.
don't get too comfortable with that.
Oh my God, I can't. I was just like, what is this? See, this is what I'm talking about. You're killing off all the wrong people. Alexis had sex with him and he died. She's like, okay, you could be naked in front of me, but I'll have to kill you. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
Or maybe she's that good. She's that good.
Oh my God. All right. I did, Sonny and Mike scenes are good. I'm living for Ned and Olivia. Last Tuesday's episode, Ned and Olivia arguing was incredible.
And
what? Go ahead.
No, I've been saying no, because I liked Scorpio and Olivia on Adventures.
We'll get to that. Yes, that was leading up. Ned and Olivia had a huge fight at the Quartermaine Mansion, and whoever directed that episode, I forgot to get the director's name. I was living for the direction because at one point the camera went to the top of the staircase and there was a shot, and I'm like, see, finally a director actually earning their paycheck and really like maximizing the scene. I thought I've been a big fan of Ned and Olivia. I think Ned and Olivia should be our generation's answer to Alan and Monica. You know what I mean? Where they get together, they break up, they get together. They have the means and the history for it. And you're absolutely right. We're going to find out what's going on with Olivia. But Robert and Anna had some scenes on Wednesday, and they were good. The Peter storyline needs to end. It's horrendous. It's just really awful. Anna and Maxie deserve better. Willow and Michael are so dull at one point. I mean, at one point I really thought, at the very beginning, I actually did, like when they were going to the grief center together, those grief sessions at the very beginning, before he got with, I did kind of like her with him. But now, after everything they've been through, it's like, blah. You know, it's that kind of thing of like, you know, you think, oh my God, we're going to be so great as a couple. And then you get together and you're like, yeah, it's just not there. Right. You know, he just, you know, it just isn't there. And that's the way I feel about them. And then, yes, you're right. Robert and Olivia are everything. Now, you had asked me the last podcast and we didn't get to talk about that. They had, when Ron was writing it, when they first brought Robert back, Ron had this thing where Olivia was having like these psychic like things, and Robert wanted her help to
what?
like, yeah. This was going back to Ron Carnivale. Yeah, she was having
Celeste?
Yes, because she got I think it was Heather Weber hit her up with some LSD, and so she had like psychic abilities. Like yeah, and Robert Scorpio was like trying to help because this is when he was like trying to figure out what was going on with Faison and everything. And I thought the two of them there was something about the two of them that I was like, I could see them. And now, of course, they keep, you know, they've been putting them like together and Ned's getting like jealous and stuff. And I'm like, and this is where I see this being like our generation's answer to Alan, Monica, and what's his name, Sean Donnelly, you know? It's very reminiscent of that. And I'm living for it all. I'm living for Robert and Olivia together. I thought their scenes were incredible.
Yeah.
The whole hour could have been about them and I would have been fine with that. Anna, I'm just shaking my head. They need to bring Alex back, but they need to bring Alex back right. I really don't like the way they've been using Alex on this show.
I have a question for you. Now, do you think that because they keep on mentioning Alex, do you think it's going to finally turn out that Alex is what's Boring's name's mother?
I have no idea. I mean, I think that, again, this is a storyline that I think they're writing as they go along. I don't think they have any clear idea of what they're doing with this storyline, and it's very obvious and it's very annoying. And then Brando got beaten up, and then Sam and Jason and what's his name, Spinelli, think they're Spider-Man and his amazing friends, and they like race to his rescue. I was just like, this is so boring.
Which oh my God, Spinelli's back? How long is Spinelli been back?
Spinelli is back off and on. Supposedly him and Ellie moved back to town, but we have yet to see Ellie. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to. I love that Deanna was there for an episode. Deanna's that fierce black nurse. The girl with I love her. See, if I was writing this show, she'd be a regular character with her own storyline. They fire Monica and Bobby, but we don't get to see that. Right. And I realized that I don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt because I at one point I was just livid, and then I realized, well, maybe it's because they're older, they haven't come back to work. But Monica's already been to work.
No. Those are two iconic characters. They have both held those positions for over 30 years. No way. If you're going to do that and basically change the trajectory of canon, you need to have that on screen.
No, I agree with you. I was livid when it was just mentioned that we didn't get to see. See, this is what I'm talking about, speedy storylines. This is meaty stuff. The whole episode could have been about that. I mean, and I'm assuming that Jeannie hasn't come back either as Laura because remember, we did see Jeannie right after, but those were scenes I think that were filmed before the lockdown. Right. So I think Jeannie and certain people have not come back. There's certain people that haven't come back to work because of shelter. They don't want to catch anything, it's still too risky for them. But I was livid that move was made. And then Friday's episode was one of those, oh my God. The only thing that was interesting was Valentine and Anna. I got to tell you, the dialogue, whoever wrote those scenes, that was brilliant dialogue. Valentine, the best thing they did for Valentine was break him up with Nina. He's so much more interesting now as a character, being like this corporate raider taking over, ELQ, and just, interacting with other people other than Nina. His scenes with Anna were, as a matter of fact, him and Anna have more chemistry than she has with what's his face. At this point, I'd rather see Anna go to Valentine than her and what is his name? Finn. Yeah, they have way more chemistry. They were much more. Brando needs to go. He's so good looking, but he's horrible. And then Curtis was acting like Chef Boyardee. I don't know what that was about. He cooked their dinner and he had the big hat and everything. I'm like, ho ho ho, Chef Boyardee. And then new TJ dropped his balls and he confronted Cyrus Renault. I was like, woo, TJ got some balls. TJ got JT. No, JT or is it TJ? TJ dropped his balls.
TJ.
Yeah. Then last week was excellent at a lot of points. We had Robert and Olivia.
I enjoyed last week. I really enjoyed last week.
Robert and Olivia are like the hottest thing on General Hospital right now. And then we even got to see shades of Lulu. Lulu, I have to tell you, I loved Emily Rylan or whatever she calls herself now. I can't keep track. She's changing her name. M, whatever. I loved her on Guiding Light. I really did. I didn't watch her in Young and the Restless. I don't know how she did as Abby, but I loved her on Guiding Light, and that's hard because I was a big Crystal Hunt fan. Crystal Hunt was the other Lizzie before her, and I loved her. I loved her with Daniel Cosgrove. I thought they had so much chemistry. I really hate her as Lulu. And I want to like her because I like her as an actress. I liked her from Guiding Light. When I heard she got cast, I was like, great. I don't know if she's ever really got this character. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there'll be moments where I'm like, all right, I believe you now. I believe that you're Lulu Spencer. And so that scene with Renault and stuff on Monday's episode, I was like, okay, I'm kind of seeing it. I mean, on Tuesday's episode, because they didn't have a Monday episode. I'm like, I'm kind of seeing it a little bit. Ava and Portia.
I love that.
This is what, but see, it's just like when I saw the Valentine and Anna scenes and the Robert and Olivia scenes. It's like, obviously one of the writers knows how to write. Let that writer write everything. Because that's what should be writing the show. The dialogue, the way those two characters interact, and of course to have two fierce actresses playing off each other. I was living for Ava and Portia. I was like, again, if the whole episode was about Ava and Portia, I would have been fine with that. Yeah, I would have been fine.
Well, because
and I love. Go ahead.
I was going to say with the Ava and Portia, you could tell there's actually subtext there.
Yes. Oh my God. It just was. Oh, I was living for them. And then Bobby was finally there, and I was living for Bobby's dress. Bobby looked fierce in that dress.
Is Bobby
I was
dating
just
that black guy?
No, that's some real sportscaster who's a big fan of General Hospital, and they keep bringing him back. And I don't know. It's just really weird. And then, I was wondering if Dev was ever coming back because they never mentioned him. They had the kids on for like two episodes, like two scenes out of the whole episode. And I was like, why even bring them in? Portia and Jordan were in, Jordan, I feel bad for her. You know what I mean? Because she's not the worst. She has improved. The problem is you can't help but compare her to the other one, right. The original Jordan. And that's where it's always going to be like, it's just,
Right.
I loved Ava and Jerome busting into Gray's office. I thought that was funny. See, stuff like that. I thought that was funny. They mentioned Dev, and then he went. They had mentioned Dev on Wednesday's episode, and it was funny because I thought he was going to go the way of Bobby Martin on All My Children and go up the attic and never be seen, or Chuck Cunningham on Happy Days, the older brother that vanished after the first like 2 episodes. But they finally showed him. But it only seems that they can have 3 teams at a time. So at first it was Josh, Cameron, and what's her name?
Trina or
Trina.
Jocelyn.
And then the next episode, Trina was not there, but Dev was finally, and Dev looked real thin. Like he obviously wasn't hitting the weights during the lockdown. He looked really super thin, but he still looked fine. I hope he's of age because otherwise I feel very like I don't want to be Kevin Spacey. Oh my God! But he's cute. He's really hot. And it was just so funny because they actually mentioned that they don't seem to be able to hang out all together. So I thought that little in joke was funny.
Right.
And then they had this weird thing where Cameron called him asexual.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought that was weird. I get it, you know, because Dev seems to not. And then I wonder, like, are they going to make Dev gay? Is he, like, in love with Cameron?
On Emmerdale, they actually had an asexual storyline where one of the teens was asexual. And so, I mean, not to insult the GH writers, but I doubt they're that progressive. But there have been teen storylines, and it was, I think, the woman and the girl won an Inside Soap Award that year for playing the asexual, you know, just the beats, and she came out and all this stuff. So it is, you know, it could happen. He probably will be gay, but
well, I hope they don't make him gay because, again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's like General Hospital does not write gay characters well, and I'd rather he stay straight because otherwise it's a waste of a really good actor to make him gay and then not use him. That's what they did with Lucas, the actor who plays Lucas. And this was going back to, you know, back when they first made the character gay, even though he quit before they made the character gay. I think his agents had advised him that, and I don't know, they claimed that wasn't the case, but the minute he found the character was going gay, he quit and then they recast the role. But Lucas could have been like this incredible character, like, you know, and instead, he's not even on. They don't even show, where are the gays? Where's Felix? Britt takes over the hospital and Lucas and Felix are not even there.
Right.
This is where I get frustrated with General Hospital.
Well, Felix is Mike, though, right?
No, not at that point. They hadn't established that Felix was with Mike. But yes, Britt never should have been written off. When they brought her back a few months ago, I was like, again, this is where Frank, as the executive producer, needs to say, you know what? This actress is fierce. She's alive. She's brilliant. The character has history. Let's get rid of Willow and Sasha and keep Britt on. And instead, they wrote her off. And now I'm hoping that the reason she's coming back is because they're going to keep her and use her. Because you're absolutely right. One of the best things about Friday's episode was Britt being revealed as the new chief of staff. And the scenes with her and Elizabeth and Epiphany, and that was interesting, fabulous stuff to watch. But again, where's Lucas? Where's Felix? You know, and yes, Robert and Olivia were everything this week. And then when Robert got the mysterious phone call that may be from Holly, he was like, I'm going to drop your ass to the airport so you can go back to Port Charles. And Olivia's like, bitch, I'm from Brooklyn. My ass is going with you. Wherever you go, I go. And I was like, what? And I was like, that's General Hospital. That's a super couple. Like the good old days when General Hospital and Days of Our Lives were like cranking them out. It's all about Robert and Olivia now. I'm hoping that this adventure continues this week and we get to see Robert and Olivia on the run in the mystery, because I don't give a damn if he's 80. Tristan Rogers can have it. He is still sexy as fuck. He is still the Mac Daddy.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm sorry, I would take him over half those young guys in General Hospital.
He can get it.
He could so get it. He is still Mac Daddy. Let me tell you something. I will never forget one of the earlier episodes when they first introduced his character and Sharon Wyatt and him had hooked up. And this was like during the whole Cassadine, the island thing and everything, when they were the weather machine. And Sharon Wyatt played Tiffany. She's lying in the bed and he's like playing with some dynamite, and he's like bare chested, and he had his whole like chest hairy because, you know, he was a real man. He didn't shave that shit. And he's there standing, and he's like fooling around with the dynamite, and she's like, I forgot what it was. And she asked him something. He's like, it's dynamite. And she goes, no, darling, I'm not talking about your body. I'm talking about what you're right there. And I was like, work! And that line and that moment stays with me forever, because I was just like, If I didn't know I was, by then I did, because he is fine. He still has it going on. I'm like, whew, that is a man. That is 100% man. I'm like, whoa. And then, of course, the horrible, boring thing about General Hospital on Friday was, this is where it pisses me off. Mike's storyline. Oh, my God. What the fuck were they thinking, making the whole episode about Jocelyn and Mike?
Yeah.
If I was Mike, I'd be lying in there saying, take me now so I don't have to listen to this annoying girl anymore. That made no sense whatsoever. It made no sense. Les. It made no sense. No. First of all, she's not his granddaughter. He wasn't even in town when she was born. Sonny and Carly only got back together now, like in the recent years when Ron got him back. So it's not like she grew up with Sonny as like her stepfather or Mike was in the picture. It's like, so, all right. So yeah, so you're saying that maybe they bonded in the last 2 years since Mike came back. I'll give you that. But where did we see it? Did we see it? Did we ever since Mike came back, have we seen any scenes where Mike and her really connected and bonded? Did the writers see? This is why I get frustrated, because this is bad writing. This whole storyline from Mike thing, it's been convenient. They had this great idea. We're going to bring Mike back. We're going to give him Alzheimer's. The audience is going to love it. It's going to be very like classic Claire Labine, Wendy Ritchie era. But you guys are not Claire Labine and Wendy Ritchie. You don't know how to pull it off. It's like you've been putting this storyline whenever you feel the need to. You push it on us, and then we don't see it for a few months. You don't really maximize it. You're not really investing in it. It's like Mike's dying of Alzheimer's. Where the fuck is his family? Where's Christina, his actual granddaughter? Right. Even Michael, because at least Michael may not be his biological son. Michael was there when Mike was still in town.
Well, he's named after him.
Yeah, through all his early years. It's like, why are we not seeing scenes? Instead, I have to watch a whole entire episode of Jocelyn being a typical teenager of 2020. It's all about her. I wish we had more time. I wish you were there for my graduation. I wish you were there when I told you I was pregnant. Oh. It's like, oh my God, shoot me now. Mike's like, take me, Lord, take me. I don't want to hear this anymore. And as much as I love Eden McCoy, this is where I was going, because I always bring it back, people. You got to write to that actor's strength. Eden McCoy I love her. I love her as Joss. But the thing with Oscar showed me that she is very limited in her range. She's not Kimberly McCullough. She's not going to give us the Stone, because that storyline was another storyline that for me felt very flat. It could have the potential to being of like a Robin and Stone storyline, but she wasn't Robin. She's not Kimberly McCullough, and you need to write her. And so this stuff with her and Mike, I felt nothing. Like Morales in a chorus line, I felt nothing, and it was torture to watch. I cannot tell you how I just was like, through it all. It was just so, and like every time I thought, okay, it's over now. No, she's like telling him she's pregnant. Oh my God. It was like, who wrote this? Who thought that this was a good idea? And then again, I go back to where is Christina through all this? Christina, who could have pulled it off. Christina, who would have banged it out. Christina, who would have probably got another Emmy. Nowhere to be found. His biological granddaughter, nowhere to be found these few months. This is why General Hospital pisses me the fuck off.
Like I said,
shit like this.
I'm hoping with the Brit running the hospital, I'm hoping that's going to breathe some life into it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Now, on some casting news, are you sitting down, people? It was announced that Kim Delaney, our beloved Jenny Gardner from All My Children, is joining the cast of General Hospital. Now, rumors are going about that she's going to be Cyrus's wife. I hope that's not the case. Oh,
how much do you want to make a bet?
Unless he's coming to kill him and take over.
or how much do you want to make a bet? Because these writers aren't too, like I said, forward thinking. How much do you want to make a bet they're going to make her Michael Lee Knight's sister?
I hope not. I thought about that too. I really did. I hope not, because I think that his character still has a chance for potential. I just think they're not utilizing him. I think, again, this goes to, like, you have this incredible fucking actor. And yeah, I'm not a fan of the, Colonel Sanders' accent, but I look past that because it's fucking Michael Knight, people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, write for him. Give him stuff, because when you give him stuff,
head of hair.
the little stuff you're giving him, he's making it work, even though it's not much.
Right.
It's like, I really thought that his character was going to turn out to be somebody or something, or, you know what I mean? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's still interesting to watch, but I don't know. Some people said that she might be Elizabeth's mother. I'm like, I don't see why they would do that. Elizabeth's mother is not, it's Elizabeth's father who's connected to the town, Jeff Weber. Her mother, we never ever met. They mention her by name, but she has no link. I don't want her to be Elizabeth's mother. I think that Days of Our Lives messed up. If Kim Delaney was looking for work, Days of Our Lives should have cast her as Hope Brady. Could you imagine?
Right.
I would have been down for that.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, you're going to need Hope. We haven't got to Days yet, but it's the fact that Hope won't be there. I don't know about that. But anyway, so yeah, that's been crashing news. Then supposedly the kid, Brian Craig, who played Morgan, is like basically on social media begging for any of the 4 soaps to cast. And see, actors, it's hard out there, and they're realizing there's not a lot of work out there. So, of course, you're coming back to the only thing that's in business right now, because let's face it, a lot of primetime shows still aren't taping. Meanwhile, the soaps are already banging out, so now everybody wants their soap job back.
Right? Seriously.
He's like, any of you, Days of Lives, you want me, Bold and Beautiful? And I feel bad because that seems so desperate, and I don't know if anybody's going to pick him up. It seems like, I'm surprised Frank Valenti's such a hoe. I'm surprised he didn't just bend over and took him back, but he didn't. So, I don't know. I don't know if anybody's got. Now, you know what's funny? I was thinking about who isn't working right now, and who would have been a perfect actor to play that role of Cyrus Renault. Vincent Irizarry.
Oh yeah. Has he been on? He hasn't been on General Hospital yet, has he?
He hasn't been on General Hospital, which annoys me because one of the things I loved about his stint on All My Children. I loved when him and Finola were together. I loved David and Anna together.
And that's what I was going to say, that I would kind of be pissed because I would love him on that show as David Hayward.
Oh. I still think that it would be interesting to have David come to town, especially now when the hospital needs more doctors. I think it would be great to have David come to town.
Okay, and this is how dumb they are. They could have made, instead of Britt, which, like I said, I love her as head of the hospital, they could have brought him in as head of the hospital.
I would have loved to see David and Anna reunited. I've been clamoring since they got the rights back from the Poe Park Association or whoever that company was that was doing the streaming thing. Prospect Park. I knew it was something pink. Ever since they got it right back, I kept saying, get Vincent Irizarry back. Get Vincent Irizarry back. But again, if you're bringing on a brand new character like Cyrus Renault, who's supposed to be this mover and shaker and threat, Vincent Irizarry would have killed in that fucking role. And if Kim Delaney's playing his wife, the two of them, now that would have... See, I don't know what the casting directors were thinking. And I don't know what ABC and Frank... I feel bad because I'm sure this guy is a sweet guy. But I don't buy him in the role. I feel like even what's her name, Josh could take him out with one slug, I don't find him threatening. I really don't. So I don't know. That's all the casting news. Now we could go to Les's favorite show.
Days of Our Lives. Like sands in the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. I loved it. I have loved it this week. you know, there were certain parts, you know, there's a certain person who bugs me. Sorry, David.
And guess what? Guess what? You didn't lie. You had another week to give a second chance to Sierra and Ben, even though they weren't really together. But
right, she was a ghost or whatever.
Every time you do the day. Every time you do the Days of Our Lives thing, I always, because me and my friends, whenever we when that Queen Alice and me, whenever we were out drinking, we would always be like, oh, I can't say it, it's too X-rated. We used to go, you could put your hands in a so are the Gays of Our Lives. Okay. Well, let's start. Days of Our Lives week 1 was a horrible exit for the gays. Did you like the exit for the gays?
I did not.
I did not. I
did not.
Yeah. I had mixed emotions. I'm like, I did like the one flashback you gave us. Meanwhile, General Hospital gave us a Holly and Robert flashback. I was like, I'm surprised Frank allowed that. You know, he wasn't executive producer when that was going on in the 80s.
I guess that means that she's probably coming back to the show.
I hope. I really did not like the fact that they killed her off. But anyway, I in that flashback, and I've seen some of their earlier stuff. I see why they were hot and people loved them. I don't see it now, but I saw it back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that flashback was nice because it kind of and I don't think it has anything to do with them. I just think, I have to tell you, I don't think Ron writes for the gays very well. You know what I mean? Right. And I don't think I think the best he ever wrote for the gays was on One Night to Live, and even that was kind of murky.
Well, that got too much. Like, it started out really good, and then it just became like overkill.
Yeah. So it's like writing for gays is not his strong suit. And he just doesn't know how to write for them. And so I feel bad for the actors because I was like, they deserve better. They deserve the better exit. It's just weird to me that all of a sudden they decided to move and nobody's like throwing them a party. Nobody, like, it's like, oh, we're leaving.
Like,
we're leaving a day.
They're like,
who leaves like in a day and doesn't pack shit?
Gabby.
And how they see, I would have preferred that they left with Gabby. I think that's what they should have done. I think that they would have been like, you know what, we're not leaving our daughter, we're going with you, and let them go to Mexico with them. I thought that would have been a better exit than this crap. It was just like, because again, they're leaving at the wrong time. So much is going on with their families. Why would you leave now? I don't know. Maybe that's a white thing. I'm sorry. I know, but it's true. I mean, as a Latin person, if one of us moves out of town, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? When a quarter of a little section of my family moved to Arizona years ago, that was like, oh, how could you? You know what I mean? And so, like, let alone moving when all this shit was going on. I mean, Sierra's missing, John's, and at one point, Will even told Marlene, and he was like, no, you know what? I'm going to tell Sonny to go ahead. You've been there for me through so much. I want to be there for you. And Marlene was like, no, you go, boy. I was like, no, let his ass stay. Your grandson needs to be there for you. It just was rushed and weird. I felt so bad for them. I think the gays deserved better.
Well, yeah. Okay, so are we talking about things that we didn't like? So, okay, Ron, I apologize. Ron, you know, I like you. You know, I love your writing. You know, the whole reason why I'm watching Days of Our Lives is because I followed you there. I apologize profusely that I have to do this. But this is what I didn't like. I'm so sorry, Ron. So Vincent's explanation of his backstory, they totally dropped the ball with that. I was like, that's it? That's why you hate him? Because your under 5 girlfriend was the one who did that favor for him. Ron,
I liked it.
Ron. Now, Ron, you know we're buddies, right? There was so much that you could have done with that. There was so much history that you could have tied him to. Ron, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? I didn't like his explanation. Sorry. Okay, anyway.
Well, I gotta tell you, I liked it because I felt it Vincent leveled up by the truth. I mean, I have to agree with you in the sense, like, I thought he was gonna be like Serena Mason's. I totally forgot about Wendy, to be honest with you. So when they brought up Wendy, I was like, oh shit, Wendy, that's right. But you know what it then entailed? It reminded me even more how gross it is that everybody's acting like Ben's normal. Because I totally forgot about the fact that he had that midwife and he shot her dead. Like, that's almost as bad. I mean, killing somebody is horrible, but I mean, it's one thing to strangle somebody, but damn, you took this woman who a nurse who helped Abigail give birth, and then you just took her out into the woods and shot her. And I totally forgot about that. And I was like, damn. So that made me even hate Ben more and be like, you people are psychopaths for like, and I love the scenes with him and when Sierra found out the truth and he was telling Sarah, but you know what? If anything, I felt like Sierra should have been like ashamed because everything he said, there were no lies in what he said. He's like, my fiance was a nurse. She helped Abigail give birth, and your husband took her out and shot. And I was like, damn. I get why you didn't like it, because I do think that, yeah, it was kind of, in some ways, as a cop-out. You could have come up with something. There's so much more stuff that could have, I agree with you on that point.
I like the actor
a
lot.
But my feeling is, like, it's better than nothing. It's better, because there had to be a reason for why he was so invested in all this. But I got to tell you, I was just like, as weird as the exit with the gays was, there was still some good stuff about it. I got to tell you, Will was looking all zaddy with that beard, though. Damn. Woo. He should keep that beard. He didn't, but he should. Sammy is so badass. You may love her or hate her, but you cannot deny the fact that she brings life to Salem.
You know who gave me life? Speaking of Sammy, do you know who gave me life? That judge.
Yes! I was living for the judge. But that ruling came out of nowhere. I wasn't prepared for that ruling.
But I get it. I get it as far as it was the right ruling, but only because she's the kid's grandmother. That was like, I get why she did it. Because
all right.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, because I was going to say it has to be like, I guess for a judge, it has to be beyond a shadow of a doubt. And the fact that she brought that up with killing someone, and even though Eric took the fall for it, and I'm sure the judge probably did think he was lying, it created a little doubt. Like, are you going to give this baby to someone who murdered someone? Or are you going to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's probably why.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I mean, Justin, Bonnie, and Lucas last week was so funny. Their stuff was really good. Philip is back. Victor is everything. I'm sorry. That man is like 100, and he's just sitting there, and he like wipes the screen off with anybody when he's on there. He's like so brilliant. And Xander does not lie. Xander was screaming to everybody who can listen, Sarah, Victor, and everything he said about Brady and Philip was true. I didn't see no lies. Xander's not lying. Yeah, I don't know. Say, Sarah's still on.
Yeah.
Wait. Sammy is so... Now, see, Sammy was wrong, though. I got to tell you.
Oh, no, she was wrong.
Breaking Jan out, that was so
Oh, no, she was wrong. She was totally wrong.
I mean, what the fuck was she thinking?
And that's what I love about Sammy, though. She's wrong, but she'll justify it. She'll find a way to justify it.
Oh, my God. And then when Sean...
yeah.
When Sean told Belle that Philip was back, I don't know, that was so bizarre. I didn't love Days of Our Lives as much as you did these last 2 weeks. I felt that some of it was excellent. I felt some of it wasn't as smooth as the last few weeks. There was some choppy stuff.
Okay, you got to understand. I don't know the order of TV shows where you live, but where I live, Days of Our Lives and Young and the Restless are back to back, and The Young and the Restless is first. So I was so happy. So part of that was just relief. I was like, oh my God, a soap I can watch now. So that might have skewed my ruling a little bit.
Well, no. It was still good. I just felt like some of it was rushed. There were moments that, and then there's stuff that's just so brilliant. Like the Sammy Lucas Bell scenes were brilliant. When Belle went to confront Sammy, and Sammy was trying to justify it, and she goes, "Well, everybody deserves a second chance. Look at Claire." I was like, "Bitch, that was so." And Lucas's reaction. So when Ron's on, when the writers are on, they're on. I can't deny that.
And the part about that I loved. Did you like the part? I love the part where like Belle slapped her, but then it's like, okay, they're sisters, so they're like, okay, like, and it was done, and I was like, oh, good, they played it like they're sisters,
Yeah. I mean, it just, I mean, yeah, it's delicious. He's the I'm trying to read my notes. Stephen Caleb being horny, taking a shower was weird. I was just like, and then Trip breaks in with a hoodie on, that's white privilege. I'm sorry, that came out. That was so wrong. But it's true. He breaks it with a hood, I mean, it's just weird. Abigail's, back. Abigail, I gotta tell you, this thing with Abigail.
I don't like Abigail.
She's like Daytime's answer to the character of Becky from Roseanne. I'm beginning like this. The actress is going back and forth playing it. It's kind of getting annoying. I will say this though. I'm kind of glad Marcy Miller's back. I loved Kate, what's her name, Nancy, but you know what? It's just so bizarre because they're so drastically different. Their Abigails are so. Yet, oddly enough, both versions of the character seem to work to some extent. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like, because the thing with Kate Manzi is that she's so at level 100. You know what I mean? Her Abigail is so like that you could only take so much of that before you need to like, all right, Abigail, dial it back. And then Marcy Miller's so like, so it's like, so I'm at the point now where like I need, because of her Abigail being all like, see people, that it's nice to see Abigail be like a little normal, a little bit more. I do think that Marcy Miller is the stronger actress, and I'm going to explain why. I think actually that Marcy Miller should go on to do films and stuff. I think she's more a film actress. You know what I mean? I'm not knocking her. That's not an insult. I'm just saying that she's more subtle. She's more, you know what I mean? She's that kind of actress that really should be in a film because she can say things without saying anything. She doesn't need dialogue. And that kind of isn't necessarily what Daytime is about. You know what I mean?
Right.
It really isn't. So I feel like her strength is kind of lost to the Daytime audience. They don't realize how good she really is. But I actually found her to be a little bit it was nice to see Abby being strong, to see Abby being like she knows something's up with Gwen. I don't think for 1 minute that her guard is down when it comes to Gwen. And then that was a nice twist. We find out that Gwen is really the person behind drugging Abigail. What did you think about that?
I liked it, but it better be because she's tied to someone with history.
Well, they said that they did say, I did read an article that's saying that we're going to find out that she has ties to the camera, which I think that's great because that's how you keep a character on. You need to have them have some kind of connection to the show.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I was enjoying the Jake, Gwen, Kat, and Kate and chat. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that story actually. I do like that story. The Jake, Gwen, Abby. Like, how many people are going to be in that? Is it going to be like a sex tangle? Or, like, there's.
Well, I don't know.
Triangle.
I think part of bringing Abigail back was probably because they were losing Gabby. So it's going to be interesting. I did read an article. Ron supposedly was talking about the fact that because Days of Our Lives shoots ahead of schedule, things changed because of the lockdown and stuff. Because they were supposed to be off for 2 weeks for the Olympics. So when he was writing the episodes, he was writing them with that in mind, that they were going to be off for 2 weeks. So because they kept going straight through with the episodes, it pushed everything forward. And so that would have meant that their anniversary episode would have happened like 2 weeks beforehand. Thanksgiving would have happened 2 weeks beforehand. Christmas would have happened 2 weeks. So rather than disrupt his flow, what he did was he got together with the writers, and they've also been looking at the scripts to try to make things, more COVID friendly,
Right.
So like he said, they were looking at things like, do we really need 5 people in this scene? Can we do this scene without the hug? So they're already like reworking the scripts today. Cause remember, they wrote this shit in advance.
Wait, and then they probably got the phone calls. Ron, okay, remember how you said I was quitting? I changed my mind and I want to come back. Ron, remember, and then like by the 5th person, he's like, okay, I get it. Yeah, come on back. We'll rewrite it.
Well, he did say that what he wanted to do so that everything would line up correctly, they came up with some storyline or some idea. So there's going to be like this multitude of episodes where something happens in Salem, and it's going to play out so that everything goes back, so that everything's timed right. In other words, Thanksgiving will happen around Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So there's like this added little storyline of like, probably, I don't want to say it's a lockdown story because it's not gonna be as creative as Emmerdale was, but something. He came up with the writers and him came up with something to kind of not fill a void. He said he doesn't feel like it's filler. They were able to integrate it into the storyline so it flows.
You see, that's my Ron.
Huh?
That's my Ron. See, he comes up with ideas. He's on it.
Okay, you say so. I did think it was a nice twist to Gabby poison Abby. Vincent thinks Sierra's Wendy. That was interesting twist. Again, this is where things get a little weird for me. Everybody's reactions. Claire comes in. She overhears Sean talking about Jan Brady and assumes that it's her. It's like, Claire, it's not always about you. There's like a million, whatever her name is. There's like a million crazy people in Salem. Your father could have been talking about anybody. And then it was funny because I kept saying like, when was the last time that Claire saw Gwen? And then lo and behold, Claire and Gwen bumped into each other, and this was the first time that Gwen was working opposite new Claire.
Right.
And Chip is back, and I'm so happy because I felt like he never should have left. And then Kayla and Melissa Reeves, Jennifer Horton went to go visit Hope and give her some moral support. Now, you all saw the episode that you saw. I saw the unedited version. I was able to get the Zack Snyder cut, where Hope tells Jennifer Horton, no, Gabby and Rafe left town, so he can't be here to support me. Their mother's sick, so they left town and they went to Mexico. And Jennifer goes, good, we got rid of the Latins. Now we need to get rid of the blacks.
Right. Right.
But all you heard was, oh, because that's what her character said. Oh, but I got that unedited version. Let me tell you, we all know what Jennifer Horton's really thinking. Got rid of those Latins. Now we got to get rid of the blacks.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm never going to let that go.
Oh, no. Because I can barely, to be honest, and I'm going to be very transparent, if I see her in a scene, sometimes I'll fast forward it just because.
I hear you. I can't. I'm sorry. I understand what our Jillian Bowe was saying, but I can't separate the two. I'm sorry.
I can't either.
I can't separate you. That's not going to happen. I can't separate it. Now I know you. I see you, girl. I see what you're about. I can't.
And here's the deal: because they're going to get a major storyline. Once their storyline kicks off, I'll watch it because I have to, but don't expect any glowing reviews.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
fully
then,
involved yet. I'm sorry.
yeah, I mean, Thursday was weird. Sierra, I don't know what it was about Thursday. I didn't like the pace in Thursday's episode. It was very, like, it took me forever to get through that episode. I don't know why. Sierra and Vincent, we finally got to see Sierra be a badass, and we got to see her be Bo and Hope's, daughter. She, like, took out Vincent, like, acting all like Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman. And I'm like, well, why didn't you do that with Ben when he was, like, on you? And then there was this weird scene where what's his name was visiting Ben, Jake. And I was like, Jake just decided to come and visit him when he was being held prisoner. And it was just very weird dialogue. It was a very sluggish episode. Sierra's death was also very weird. The way that came about, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just did you enjoy that? I thought it was very bizarre.
It was very bizarre.
It was very bizarre. Like, the audience didn't see a body in there. At least I didn't. I kept rewinding and I'm like, you didn't see whether there was a body in there or not. But supposedly Ben saw something, and then I don't know. And then Kristen Alfonso was, she's like, help my daughter, help. Like, girl, look at the fire. Your daughter's dead. If your daughter's really in there, there's like really? You honestly think that somebody's going to survive that? That
Right.
thing blew up. I'm like, and then they finally hired some extras that are actually firemen, but I don't see them putting out the fire. They just seem to be walking around, and they're hearing that somebody's supposedly in there, and they're just like walking around. I'm just like, and Hope grabs them, and she's like, my daughter's in there, but I don't see him like putting out the fire. It just was very bizarre and awkward. And then like the next day, like it didn't continue. Like the next day, we saw other characters talking about it.
Right.
And it just, and this is where I miss the good old days of soap opera. I miss when a character's death, regardless about what it was the weight of it was given to the audience. We were with the characters on the show, and we mourned that character's loss. Another World and All My Children were great at doing that whenever somebody passed. Whenever a character, it was like we were grieving with them. It was cathartic. We went through it. We saw the whole town hearing about it. We saw the whole town turning up to this person's, funeral. And this is not just any old character. This is Sierra Brady. This is the daughter of Bo and Hope.
Right.
This is a character who is related to so many people on the canvas. I mean, we're hearing about how distraught Victor is, but we don't see it. We don't get to see Victor finding out. We don't get to see Victor grieving. We don't see anybody. We see Kayla talking to Justin about it. They actually allowed Sammy and Eric to have a moment. And I mean literally like a moment. It was like a second. Like he tells Sammy, and she's like, oh my God, our poor little cousin. All right, let's get back to these results. It was just like, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good writing, man. This is, and this is where the American soaps annoy me. It's just like, where's the payoff,
Well,
I mean, I did love Sammy and Marlena going at it.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't wait to see, because we saw at the end of last week mean John Black. So I guess John Black's going to be mean now. I'm ready for that. I do love it. I do love a good getting hit in the head, changing your personality storyline.
I'm fine with that too. I'm fine with that. We could do that. I like it. I'm okay with that too.
Because when he threw shit at her, I was like, oh shit.
I didn't see that. I think you guys are a day ahead of us. I think that you guys get an episode ahead. I think New York is behind for some reason.
Because I was like, oh shit, he threw shit at her.
I think that your Friday episode is our Monday episode. I could be wrong, but I really do think I think that's the case. But anyway, because I didn't see that. I saw him. It ended Friday for me with him opening his eyes.
Right.
And where was Paul through all this? They need to bring the Asian back. They really need to bring the Asian son back.
There's room for some gays.
Yes, bring the gay Asian. We need the gay Asian back.
Paul Narita. Well,
he was so fine.
Shall we fly across the pond?
Yes.
So, what did you think about Coronation Street?
Let's start with Emmerdale.
Okay.
Well, all right. Let's put it this way. I as much as I want to be on top of Hollyoaks. As soon as Hollyoaks is on Hulu, I will be watching and we'll be talking about Hollyoaks. So
Okay.
I bear with me. I can't.
So
Emmerdale.
Emmerdale's good. And what I'm liking, first of all, is are you familiar with the backstory of why Tracy hates Amy so much?
I kind of after after their scene together, I kind of got the gist of it. She blames her for her father.
Yeah, well, because there used to be a factory, right? Amy and her mother, who God, she hasn't been seen in a while. Amy and her mother did something, and then it caused the factory to blow up. And Tracy's dad was in the factory, so he died instantly. And then Amy and Carrie covered it up. And then there was something missing, like money or something. They covered it up and then set it up so that he would get the blame for it. And then it all came out. So that's why Tracy hates her for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they haven't rehashed that in a while. And so I'm glad that they kind of rehashed that. What do you think about them putting Amy with Maddie, though?
I like Amy and Maddie together. I like the whole date thing that Marlon was trying to pull off. I thought that was such funny and beautiful and touching, and then adding Tracy to the mix in their history. See, this is where I'm like, this is what it's like when soap operas were written good. This is what American soap operas like when you put some thought into it. And all that use of history. And see, unlike Les, I don't know the history, but I didn't need to. It was apparent by the two actresses that were playing it and the writing that there was history. And then they had this great scene where they talked about, obviously he gave me more detail, but I needed what I needed to know and to enjoy the scene was already there. These two girls do not like this one doesn't like her for obvious reasons, and she's trying to move on from it. And I just thought it was so well written and so beautiful. And I loved everything about, Maddie and her together. And now let me ask you this. This is what I'm curious about. Does she know that Maddie is transgender?
Yes, because the Maddie character was, of course, played by a different... So for those of you who don't know, Maddie is transgender. But the original character had been on there for years as Moira's daughter. So, Maddie... So her name was Hannah when she was a girl. So like Hannah, Amy, and Victoria were all like friends in high school. So they basically like were teenagers together and stuff. So they were already friends when Maddie was presenting as female. So they have a long history together.
No, and the reason I asked is because it's not that I'm against a storyline where somebody falls for somebody and then they find out they're transgender. I just would find it more refreshing to have a storyline where the character already knows that this person's transgender and they're falling for that person.
Yeah, no, she already knew.
Because of that, who that person is. So that's what I was hoping for. I was thinking like, my God, if she was, because I knew that she was on the show as a girl, he was on the show as a woman first. I'm like, so she would have to know that she was already. I wouldn't, it doesn't seem like this is the kind of town where you can keep secrets like this, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I was assuming, and I was like, I gotta ask Les about that, because then I think it's even more powerful that she already knows that she's transgender and she still wants to be with him,
Oh no, they were like best friends.
Because he's fine. I'm sorry, he is fine. I love me some Maddie. He is such a cutie, and I love their scenes where they were talking to each other. See, this is great writing. Tracy put her on notice and said, like, if you don't, you better stay away from Maddie, or I'm going to tell Maddie the kind of person you really are. And so so Amy now feels obligated to like stay away from Maddie. So she kind of like deaded Maddie when Maddie was basically ready to say like, I really like you. And then he backed down and he was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. We don't want to mess up our friendship, and, probably wouldn't work with us anyway. And I just thought the writing and those two actors, the chemistry, This is why I love my British soap operas. I'm sorry. I thought Emmerdale, these last 2 weeks of Emmerdale has been incredible. I love, is dingle, dingle, dingles everywhere. My God, I love the dingles. I love the dingles. Big Daddy Kane is back. Oh, oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. You don't have like a Kane anymore on these soap operas. You need that patriarchal figure that just like, I mean, the way they all like are scared of him and everything, and like, oh, I was enjoying everything. Dingle, I was enjoying.
Well, and here's the one thing that was missing from the Dingle thing. So there's like there is a patriarch of the Dingles, right? But I think because of COVID, because he's like probably in his 60s. So I think because of COVID, they're probably doing what Coronation Street is doing and keeping their older actors from the set for a while, because there is a patriarch and it's Kane's father. And so I think that because normally with the Dingle, there's a whole set of Dingle rules. Okay, the Dingle, like there's a whole set of Dingle rules. If you rat on another Dingle, you go to Dingle court. You could be kicked out of the Dingles and forced to leave town. There's all sorts of shit that Dingles do that because Zach isn't there. Because Zach Dingle isn't there, I'm sure they like just wrote it to just go with the time. So that's kind of missing for me because the Dingle, like, Dingles are no joke. And especially if you betray another Dingle, you're fucked.
No, and I got that when everything came out, when Belle has to tell the family and you know, they had a whole bunch of scenes where Mandy, like when Kane came back and Mandy like blew up Belle's thing, you know, like you could see that they're obviously this family, and they're not the only. Again, American soap operas used to have big families like that on soap operas. We don't see that anymore, but you know, so I'm enjoying all that. I really thought Vinny was so wrong. I know that that's his father and stuff, but the way he treated her, you know, she is not his biological mother, but she loves him. She couldn't love him anymore if that was her blood son, and she's the one who raised them, and it just broke my heart the way he took his father's side and he was on her, because I love me some Mandy Dingle. And you know, when Sam confronted Belle, that scene between Sam, Jamie, and Belle, that was classic soap opera. I was riveted. It was so intense to watch. You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah,
when Jamie fires Sam, and Sam's like, and so you get, I like, even though I didn't know for a fact, I could see that yes, this family has a code of ethics, because they mentioned it several times. You know, they all, you know, even the Dingles that are Dingles by marriage mentioned it. You know, I mean, yeah, I love when Belle gives Jamie some sass, because he's a douchebag. I mean, Jamie is like the biggest douchebag, and I do feel that he's manipulating her in a way. The way he is operating is just like, I have to say, considering that when I first started, they were like my least favorite. He's still not the greatest. She's improved in my eyes, but he hasn't. I'm really enjoying their storyline right now. He has gotten better. Now that he's being a douche, he is better. But and then of course Dawn confessed to her father everything, and then Harriet confessed everything. That was intense.
And he was not happy.
Those were some intense scenes.
He was not.
I was like, because I wasn't, you know, in an American soap opera, this would have played out like for 2 years. The Secret, and if it came out, and I feel like it naturally has to come out because Dawn is going crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she's losing her mind, and I thought that was just great writing, because the father was so like adamant, like no, he's coming back, and that's why I'm getting a gun. And then finally she's like, motherfucker, he's not coming back. I shot the motherfucker, and I was like, damn. And so I was just watching Emmerdale with my mouth open. I was like, damn. Yep. And then Andrea came back, and I have to say, I really enjoyed her in those scenes.
See, she was well rested. She took a rest. She came back. She's ready to work.
Yeah, she was. the thing that I liked was it wasn't they didn't go the obvious route. You know what I mean? An American soap opera would have been so obvious. No, she was just like, it is what it is. That's the way she was looking at it now. She's like, oh, you living here? I guess so. It must be a nice step up from the farm. You know, it was just like, she wasn't, you know, she was fierce. I have to give her credit. I really enjoyed her scenes with Jamie and Belle. I was like,
and then I read something that the reason why Big Kim isn't there is because she suffers from arthritis in real life.
yes.
So she's at risk. So that's why the character isn't there, just, you know, for her safety.
Another scene that I really loved, I loved the whole Nate and Kane versus Jamie scene. That was really good. But I also like Marlon's scenes with Victoria at the cemetery.
Yeah.
Again, good writing, beautiful stuff. I was just like, and you know, even though I'm not watching the new Hollyoaks, I'm watching Hollyoaks from last year, and I got to tell you, one of the other things that I love about these 4 British soap operas is that they each have their own voice. I can tell, like, if you blindfold me, I could tell which soap is which, honestly, just by listening to them, because they each have their own voice. They're not carbon copies of each other. They're different. Each one is different. And, you know, with Hollyoaks, I'm watching right now the whole Brita murder storyline, and it's giving me shades of Edge of Night, and I'm living for it.
Well,
and then
get shades of Edge of Night again.
And then EastEnders.
Oh my!
Now,
okay,
wait. We can only talk about Mondays and Tuesdays episode. I have not seen Thursday and Friday, so I was in the middle before I had to get on the phone with you. I'm in the middle of Thursday, so we could talk about Monday and Tuesday. But
because my days are meshing together. Did someone take a bath?
A what?
Did someone take a bath?
A bath, yes, that did happen. That was Tuesday's episode.
Oh my God, that was chilling.
But see, this is again why, as much as I love my Jillian Bowe, I disagree with her. I really prefer soap operas when they're dealing with real shit, not escapism, not over the top stuff. I think soaps are at their best when we can relate to them, and that was a perfect example. EastEnders is doing their own abusive storyline. Gray and his wife Chantel, he is like abusing her, but this is even beyond anything that, I mean, almost the same thing as what Jeff is doing, but sometimes in some ways even worse than what's his name did to Yasmin on I mean, he made her go under the water as punishment for like 2 minutes. And I, just like Les said, I didn't know what was gonna. I didn't know what you know. She was like, "Don't make me do it again." I thought he was gonna have her he was gonna force her to have sex. And when they came back and she was under the water, I was like, my heart like stopped for a second, and I just was like, "Oh my God!" It was so disturbing. And unfortunately, this is the kind of shit people do to people. You know, this is real people. It's like this and worse.
And for me, okay, so I like I'm more of the Jillian school, where I like the escapism. I like everybody being rich. I like them going, you know, I love that shit, and I eat that shit up. But when it comes to the British soaps, I've basically just accepted the fact that we're not going to get that from British soaps. So I just I kind of judge them on a different criteria, because I know you're not going to get the scene where they're all going to, you know, go to the mansion for the ball and all that stuff. So I've just learned to look at them with a different eye. So, yeah, that
was.
And remember how? Okay, so remember, I didn't like EastEnders. Remember?
Yeah.
That is when I was like, oh, this show is good. But I gotta say too. You could tell that they were a little well rested. Like they got a lot out of their break, and they came back ready to work and well rested.
Yeah, it was definitely like I loved, and again I love it because you have a little bit of everything. You have this intense, you know, really psychological abusive storyline going on, but then you also have like Linda and her husband being all sexy cute with the apron and stuff.
I have a question.
And, yes.
Okay, so with the scene with, I'm blanking on her name. Okay, so with Sharon and that young lady, what's her name?
Ooh, that's
Dottie. Okay, so what is the backstory with that?
Well, Dottie knows that Ian's responsible for Sharon's son dying in the boat accident that happened.
Okay.
He locked him up in the boat, but he's led Sharon to believe that he was trying to rescue him. So Dottie's been holding that over Ian's head. But Ian, before the lockdown, Ian had enough of her threats, and he did something so that she got arrested for drugs, and that was before the lockdown. So when we pick up after, he obviously made a deal with her where it was just like, I'll get you off these charges, and I'll tell them that I wasn't sure what I saw, as long as you agree that this is over with. And, even though she kind of agreed to it, she's kind of over him being a dick and taking advantage. Right. And she just lost it and went and told Sharon. But again, the way she came at Sharon, and again, and this is good writing, you got to remember that they've been in lockdown for we don't even know how long, months now. So her and Ian have gotten close. Yeah, so her and Ian have gotten close. They've been together. Maybe Sharon would have believed her before the lockdown if she would have told her, right? Or maybe not. But after all that time, it's like, Sharon's been vulnerable. Ian's been there. He's been helping her with her baby, because Phil doesn't want any. So, yeah, it's a little harder for her to just believe everything that Dottie's saying now. But this is why I love EastEnders, because this is like my family. They are ratchet. When she threw her out of the bar and then broke that bottle and came at her, I was like, damn, she is gangsta. I was just like, and that's what I love about EastEnders. Like, these are real people. These are not rich people. These are not people putting on. They will slice you.
And that's the thing. That's the thing about British soaps, because didn't that happen on Coronation Street too? They love to break a bottle. They love to break a bottle.
I was just like, yeah, but EastEnders people are really ratchet. I mean, yeah, there's some ratchet people on all three shows, but these people on EastEnders are all like ghetto, man. I was like, but I was living for some Queen Sharon. See, that's what I'm talking about. I want some fierce acting, and Sharon she was incredible in those scenes. I was like, I just sat there. I was like, holy shit. And Chantel, I don't know what's going to happen to you, girl, but I hope you leave him. And she needs to go with that Middle Eastern guy, Kirat.
Right. He likes her. He likes her.
Oh, my God. When they did that close-up of him, when he was looking at her, his eyes and his lips, he is beautiful. I was like, and then this is the way the gays need to be treated. I'm loving the gays in EastEnders. Callum and Ben in their storyline. For those of you who don't know, Ben his family is ratchet. They're a bunch of thieves and stuff. And Callum is like a police officer. So Callum doesn't know that Ben was helping his father with this robbery thing that went wrong and stuff. So as Callum has to look through, his boss made him look through this video footage. He found footage of Ben at the crime scene. And so now, the position that he's being put in, he's an officer of the law, but then this is your man, this is your boyfriend. What do you do? Right. And meanwhile, when he's discovering this, he was supposed to be at Ben's doctor's appointment because Ben was getting a thing put in his ear so he could try to hear. And I was like, see, the gays get treated so poorly on American soap operas, but here on the British soap operas, they're treated like equals. And I'm loving this storyline. I'm loving where this. I'm loving everything about Callum and Ben.
You know what's coming, right? They're on EastEnders. There was talk they're gonna build a gay bar and have a gay bar on the show.
No, they have a gay bar already.
Okay, because I remember reading
they do have a gay bar.
There. Okay.
No. The gay bar is there. It's run by Linda's husband's sister. Well, she's the manager, she's not the owner.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting familiarized with it too.
There's still characters that I don't know their names and stuff. But I gotta tell you, the two episodes that the minute I hang out with you, I'm gonna continue finishing watching Thursday's episode and then Friday's episode. And then I'm getting a little nervous because I haven't seen Monday's episode of Coronation Street or Emmerdale. So because Amazon, you got your BritBox through BritBox. I got it through Amazon, and I haven't had any issues.
Hey, you know what happened? There isn't there. Okay, so Monday. So normally Coronation Street because it's in real time. So normally Coronation Street comes out at like 1 in the afternoon, like between 1 and 1:30 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So Coronation Street didn't come out until like 6 that night. So it will probably be delayed for you because it was delayed for BritBox.
Okay, all right. That's not. I get nervous because I'm like,
but we did get.
They don't. I said Amazon doesn't want me calling them and bitching them out again with everything that's going on in the world. I know it's not their priority, but it's my priority.
Because Fridays is an hour. Friday.
Yes, I did see Friday's an hour episode. I was living for that.
And so then Monday is now like this week, it's on every day. It's on every day, okay. Monday through Friday, and then Monday through Friday, 2 episodes on Friday.
Okay, Hulu better not be making me wait a month for new Hollyoaks episodes. I'm still living because I'm watching Hollyoaks and Coronation Street from last year now. So we're gonna wrap up with my favorite show, my favorite British soap opera, because I love all 4. I love all 4 of them dearly. I do, but there's a reason why Coronation Street was my favorite, and last Wednesday's episode is it. When I saw last Wednesday's episode, I was like, this is why you're my favorite, Coronation Street. That episode, and it wasn't just the big reveal and the big thing. It was everything about that episode. Coronation Street has been on fire these last 2 weeks. I'm telling you, on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? I don't even know where to start.
Okay, well... The South Asian excellence. Dev and his kids are back, and not a moment too soon. I'm living for them. Right. I'm living for them. I mean, the daughter is... See, this is what I'm talking about. The daughter is out of control. The boy who took that picture of her, she's like dating him, even though he's treating her shitty, treating her brothers shitty. I was like, see, these are real people problems. This is a real teenage girl, not some saint who does no wrong. No, this is a girl who has an attitude problem, and she needs to get a slap on her face. No slap. Right. But I was just like, where did it was just real, and then the whole Daniel and Nikki storyline, I couldn't even deal. He was so good. She was so good. Adam was so good when he found out the truth, and then he tried to fuck it up for Daniel, and he told Nikki don't see him anymore. You're taking advantage of him, and she's like, make it worth my time. So he paid her, but Daniel doesn't care. He wants to be. It's the first person that he's met that's made him feel alive, and oh my God, their performances were so incredible. Jeff and Ala. The stuff that he was putting her through, what a motherfucker!
She broke about it.
Yes, bottles. Oh my God! But how fucked up was he? He called the cook for that day and said, "Don't come in," and she had to do everything. And she finally lost it. And Ryan looked like he was ready to pound his head in if they didn't leave. So they left. And of course, Tim is watching it, but he's slowly putting 2 and 2 together because he's like, it doesn't make sense. And it's like, of course it doesn't make sense because your father's a fucking lying loon, And then Ryan also found out about Ali. I loved how subtle that was. At the beginning of the scene, Ryan was you heard him, you knew he was talking to Ali, and I thought they weren't going to bring it up. And then finally he told his girlfriend what was going on, and she felt so bad. Ali got some years in prison or stuff like that, months or something.
4 months.
And, yeah. So, Shonda and David were back. How great was Shonda and David's stuff all last week and the week before? I live for them. That whole stuff was so funny. I mean, she took off her shirt in the park because she wanted to have sex, and I was on the floor, and his reactions were so funny. I mean, and then she fucked up he was doing Birdie's hair is it Bernie? No, Bernie, right?
Yeah, Bernie.
Bernice?
Yeah, Bernie.
Yeah, he was doing Bernie's hair, and she spilled something on Bernie's shirt on purpose. I don't think it was an accident at all. I think she did it on purpose. And it was just so cute and so amusing. I mean, there was a little seriousness of it where Lily got out of the apartment because she tricked Shonda, and David got frustrated with her. And I don't blame him. I would have been frustrated with her too, because she's like a child.
Yeah.
It's like he has another child to take care of. And and then, you know, Tim and Sally together. My God, there's scenes where Sally was just trying to get him to understand and get him to see reason, and really, you know, so well written, so well acted.
So,
and then it's the little scenes that I love the most. There was this incredible, powerful little scene where Kathy confronts Dev about cutting her hours. And it was so real because he's going through a lot. He's come back. The finances aren't there because of the lockdown. Things are tight. He has to, like, you know, pay for the kids going to private school and everything. So he's cutting hours. And Kathy's like, yeah, but you didn't cut their hours. And he's like, because they have to support the quads. Right. And she's like, and the look on her face. And it wasn't like it was a big, long scene. It was such a short, simple scene, right to the point. But the actress who plays Kathy was so brilliant in it. Because, like, there was a little tremble in her voice. You could see the tears welling up in her eyes, even though they didn't come out. And she's like, yeah, but how are we going to survive? And then she looked at these cans. She goes, are these on discount? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, I'll take 2. And that summed it all. And I was a crying mess at that point. Because that shit is real. That is what we are dealing with now. People don't realize there are still tons of people in this country that are not working, that don't have any funds coming in, and they're trying to survive. And I thought that was such a brilliant way of reflecting that on this soap opera. Because as it is, everybody on these British soap operas have like 2 to 3 jobs. Man, they're all poor.
Right.
But I thought that scene was incredible.
Right. Yeah, I do like the way that they're portraying it, for sure. And what else? I'm trying to think of what else happened last week. So,
well, that was the week before. Last week was the big week. This is the reason that Coronation Street is my favorite.
Oh, yes,
everything came to an head last week.
Okay, so we're talking about the little scenes. There was a scene where Sally was covering at the cab office. So you know the backstory behind that. Do you know the backstory behind that?
Yes.
That was funny. So for those of you who don't know, Sally she used to be the mayor, and this guy like set her up, and she went to prison. And that's how she became best friends with Abby, because Abby was like her protector in prison. So she's covering for Tim. She's on the switchboard, and somebody calls, and I guess they're like, "You sound like Sally." And it turned out to be one of her former coworkers from the mayor's office, when she was like, she was set up. Like, it was so funny. It was so funny.
But see, and this was just a little scene all on its own. It wasn't like a big story. It was just a moment, and this is why the British soap operas are so much better, because they're all character driven. The way these writers write, everything is character driven. And between that scene and the little scene with Kathy and Dev, it's like, we can't even get a moment like that watching a week of American soap operas. And yet these British soap operas are giving it to us like throughout the entire episode.
So what did you think about Jeff getting out of it from the cop?
Oh my God. Everything about it, the way it played out. Sally discovered from Tim that I don't know, I forgot where Sally figured it out, but Sally found out that there was video footage. So she made it a point of breaking into the house to try to find the laptop so she could see about the footage. Jeff busted her. She came up with a lie about a book. And then he really was not even trying to hide it. He threatened her life. I wouldn't blame her for being scared. She ran out of the house and she saw Tim and she started screaming for Tim. And I don't blame her. I mean, he threatened her. And then, of course, like Jekyll and Hyde, he just, changed his whole mood. And then Tim finds out that she took his laptop. And then they were trying to break in the code. Faye finally came. Faye helped them, the daughter, right? That's her name, Faye?
Yeah, Faye, yeah.
And they found video footage of him tormenting Yasmin, and then there was just no more denying it. And when Tim confronted his father, that was some of the most powerful acting and powerful writing. Both of those actors should be nominated for an award for that episode. They were both brilliant. Neither one was supporting. They were a team. It was riveting to watch. I'm having goosebumps as I'm talking about it because that's how powerful this scene was. And and of course he was denying it to the end, but Tim now knows. He's putting two and two together, and he's realizing that his mother, his real mother, might be dead because he didn't believe her, and and he's trying his best. He found the address. He went there. Nobody's seen her because now he realizes. And I can't wait for this week's episode to see where we're going with this, because I wasn't expecting any of this to play out like this. I was like, again, it just, these shows keep me on your toes, Right. I mean, they're two, you watch these shows and there's like maybe 2-3 characters the most. But they're powerful scenes. They're written so that actors can really sink their teeth into it and play the hell out of it. I mean, I can't. Tim and Jeff, and then again, Leanne's story. It looks like Oliver's going. It looks like this is it. And I didn't know that they were going there so quickly. And the way it went about, the way it came about, they were trying to get ready to take him on a trip. They were all excited. And then the worst happened. And the minute that I said, no, this is it. He's not going to make it. And the doctors already told them, like, you need to be prepared. Mm-hmm. We can't get the seizures under control. And she's in total denial. And my heart broke. It broke for all of them. And then some woman from Nick's past and Steve's past is there, and she has a child that belongs to one of them.
And I read she used to be a character. Like 10 years ago, she was a character on the show.
What weird timing.
Right? So yeah, I read that she was a character, and it was the same actress.
Yeah, so that was seeing. I was like, wow. So one of them is gonna find out. It has to be Nick. Steve can't have yet another child that he didn't know about.
Because that's the joke, is that Steve has all these kids.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, watching Coronation Street from a year ago, I'm seeing all this great stuff. I'm seeing the whole Emma storyline play out.
Oh,
where
when she
her father dies and she finds out.
Oh, wow.
Such incredible stuff. Emma is now, like, I've always loved Emma, but now she's like on my tier of one of my favorites, because this actress can do it all. She can do comedy. I mean, that's what I knew her for first, because whenever I saw her, when I first started watching the Coronation Street, everything that she had was comedy, but I'm getting to see her do drama. This is a real actress. A real actress should be able to do both. She should be able to she or he should be able to make you laugh and cry and do everything. And she is incredible in this storyline, finding out that Steve's her father and that her real father died.
So that was the storyline where she actually won the Inside Soap Award for that year for Best Newcomer for that.
Oh, good. She deserved it. You don't understand. I'm so loving the fact that I'm getting to see all this stuff that, has, as I'm watching the current stuff, this is just a year ago. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff that, it's just amazing. It's just making me love Coronation more. Now, a new storyline has started where there's a sinkhole
that was
in
hilarious.
David's thing, but it wasn't natural. Somebody paid somebody to do that. So now this guy, what is his name? Curtis?
Ray.
Whoever, the one who owns Ray, he has some beef with them, and he paid somebody to make this happen.
What it is, actually, and you will get to this, what it is, because he hasn't been on in a long time. Actually, what's going on is he wants to buy that entire side of the street so that he could build something. So and you'll get to this and I won't tell you why. There's a reason why Kevin was blackmailed into selling him the garage. So he owns the garage. So he's literally just one by one fucking with people so he could buy the building. So he could buy their buildings. So that's that's why he's doing that. And that's a known thing. That's a known storyline.
See,
but the joke when they were like, "Oh, I thought there was a body there," and he's like, "That's already gone." That was in reference to a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago, with his other wife who died. David, his other wife, and Sarah buried a body in the backyard because David's wife at the time killed the guy in self-defense. So that's why the joke was, I thought there was a dead body because there was.
No, I got that. I remember that. Now, see, this is why I prefer the British soap operas American. When you're watching the British soap operas, it's obvious that the writers know where they're going. There's a direction. There's no hesitation. There's no filler. There's no testing waters out or saying, no, it's just like, this is our story and we're telling it. And it just keeps moving. It keeps moving forward. There's also a nice balance on these British soap operas. You don't have like Adam Newman becoming this full, any one character becoming like the whole center of the show. It's right. Like, it's an ensemble piece. And
everybody has a turn.
It makes for, and it makes for a better experience watching it. I mean, but and again, I love all four of them, but Coronation Street has my heart. It reminds me of All My Children, Another World, and Guiding Light. It gives me life.
And I got to tell you, even for example, this Ray storyline. This storyline's been going on for probably almost a year. But instead of like throwing it all out there and solving it in like 5 minutes, it's a slow burn. And, so then it's like when he did that with the sinkhole, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. He's trying to like buy up that whole side of the street. But what they did, which was cool, is the storyline was going, they kind of rested it for a little while, and now it's back. And I bet and I have a feeling that now it's probably going to take over. Now that one villain is winding down because Jeff, now that this is out, I'm sure his days are numbered. The other villain is ramping up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So, no, I like I said, I'm just amazed by everything. I'm kind of just in awe of it all, and I'm loving it. You guys take my advice. Start watching the British soap operas. You're gonna love them. If you're a fan of the genre and you love soaps, you really should be watching all four of these shows because they're so entertaining. They will make you cry. They'll make you laugh. They're just brilliant. Watch them. I can't stress that enough. Watch them.
And that's it. We did it.
Yeah, that's it. We did it. That's our 2 weeks. We promised to be back to weekly. We had to take the Labor Day off the holiday. We were out for the holidays.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to see last week's Hollyoaks. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'm gonna tell you this. If I don't get it by midweek, I'm gonna have to watch it on What You Recover because I can't. Okay. I have no clue to how long. I kept trying to look up on the internet to see if I could find out how long it takes Hulu to finally put up new episodes. But I can't wait. If it's a month, I can't wait a month. That's crazy. Yeah. I was hoping it'd be like a week at the most, 7 days even, but we'll see. Yeah. But all right.
But I can't wait for you to see Hollyoaks and be patient because the Coronation Street was late. It was late. So that's why you're probably getting it late.
Okay. All right. All right, love.
And before we go, I actually have another podcast as well. If you like this, and if you like movies on Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel, I have a podcast called A Lifetime of Hallmark, where my co-stars and I talk about movies on both Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel and try to make sense of them. So catch that too. And if you have any comments or questions or anything, we have a Facebook page, and the Facebook page is called Soap Opera Love in the Afternoon. So drop us a line, and if you like us, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We can use it. Anything else, Jordan?
Nope, that's it.
And Jordan, I agree with Jordan. I promise we are back to the weekly again. So we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Booyah. Bye.